I don't know how you feel about this, but I believe in the Tua De Danann, the old world. And in the mythology, I feel like there's truth in mythology, which is why it's endured. And I believe that there are worlds in between the worlds, that there's dimensions within the dimensions, that parallel universes have already been. Basically, they say they exist. So, if that's true, and in the mythology they say that through the shimmering was how you went through in between the worlds. Maybe the old fairy folk here in Ireland. And the shimmering was literally a veil of sound. I don't know if you can see this or not, but in English we call this a triquetra. And I've always had this longing to come here. And when I lived in Germany in the 90s, I got as far as England. And I remember thinking, I've got the money, I've got the time, but I don't think it was time yet. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any friends there or contacts. So I just went to the States, and it's been calling me ever since. Since then, people have shown up in places, and I started hearing about Newgrange and Tara and Knowth and Douth. And a friend of mine who is leading this trip told me about it, and the right brain just went, I don't know why, but I have to go on this trip. And so here I am. To be honest, the mission of the trip is to support the land. And I don't usually just say that to people. I just say, oh, I'm going to sacred sites. But the more connection we have to the land and the more appreciation we can give to the land, the better things get. I mean, how many times do people actually walk on the ground and feel the earth underneath them? And I don't mean that in a corny sense. We wouldn't be here without the earth. That's what we're made of, that and literally stardust. So this was really a trip to support these places, and particularly Tara, because it's being pillaged as far as I feel. Just seeing that highway, I mean, it's not running through it, but it's touching it. I'm hearing bits and pieces of what people are doing here, and there's a man named Martin who literally has gone to Parliament and done a slide presentation and done all he could with other people to stop this from happening. But when he got there, they had already decided literally 2 weeks. They had written their decision 2 weeks before he got there, and he didn't even know that until he showed up. So in the middle of this presentation, he started speaking Gaelic. And the interpreters and the translators started to scramble around. And it was a way of taking the power back. Hey, you might have made your decision, but I'm still going to say something. And you might not be able to understand because you already had your answer premeditated. So you can't just scramble around. You're going to have to listen to me, even if you can't understand. There's a vibration that comes through words. And that's why it's not so important what you say sometimes, but how you say it. The sound has really supported the mission, because sometimes the sound it's beyond words what sound can do. It's literally and figuratively beyond words. Scientifically, when you hear sound, it activates the right brain. When you hear pure sound without lyrics. So I really believe when we were out together on the hill of Tara, when I was just playing that bowl and the sounds were reverberating out, there's harmonics in nature. That's why when ravens or sheep or other birds and animals hear harmonics, they're not afraid. They hear the harmonics. It's a part of nature. It's just like when you hear the wind. When you hear the wind, it goes. It doesn't go. There's other sounds built on it. So I feel like the sound is literally an offering. The sound is giving back without taking anything, without asking for anything in return. It's simply a gift. And it's also a gift of gratitude and appreciation. Because even that couldn't happen without the earth supporting it with the glass and quartz crystal, and in this case the citrine and the iron that are all chemically made and put into the bowls. So it's important to give back without expecting anything, because we're so used to just receiving without even knowing it, because we've lost that connection. Not everybody. And I feel like everything that's happening is giving us the space and the girth to realize what we have and that we're all connected. And if you really want to make it through the times that are coming, be kind to your neighbor and get to know your neighbors. And my neighbors, my intimate neighbors, are these crystal singing bowls. And everybody has a voice. And so they can give without doing anything. You can just give with your voice. Just make an offering. Wind, the elements, fire, hearing a fire crackle. When we hear them, it gives us something, and we have no words for that. I felt a lot of sadness on Tara. I felt a lot of sadness, and I can't tell you why. I could literally hear keening on the land. And there were a couple of women with me that they said, I'm not a crier, but as soon as I got here, I could just feel it. So that's what I was feeling. Part of me was observing that feeling and not just getting caught. And anger. I could feel some anger. And I'm not sure if it's anger coming from the land, from what happened, or just me not believing what we're doing without even knowing we're doing it. The powers that be are willing to have something like this happen at Tara, the royal crown of Ireland. That means that all these other holy places are up for grabs. So I believe it's up to each one of us to decide what our part is. Not just take from the land, but literally, what is our offering? Whether it's sound, activism, film, anything to raise the consciousness so that people can actually start to see past the illusion and see past what is normal. Because what is normal, I believe, is insanity at this point. Because it's not working.